Okay, so I'm sure all of you have seen a lot of different takes from the goings on at the Super Bowl this weekend. I know I've seen my fair share, but this one has to probably go down in the books. It is in its own league, and I am convinced, um, I'm finally convinced that not only is The View trying to gaslight you and me, us, we, I am now convinced that because that's not working, it's not working with anybody, that they are now trying to gaslight themselves into their own reality of what these things during the Super Bowl meant. Because I'm finding it hard to even follow along because I didn't get any of that when I was watching these same things at all. So let's watch them and you can tell me what you think.
Exciting.
Yes.
What about you, Anna?
Okay, well, I don't do sports. I don't do football, so I wasn't watching the game. But listen,
You don't do anything
I think
useful.
today Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order banning black people from halftime. Because you remember last week we were talking about whether the NFL was capitulating to Trump by removing the term "end racism" from the end zone.
Yeah.
Boy, did they not capitulate to Trump. When
Yeah.
I saw Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah.
dressed as a black Uncle Sam introducing Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah.
who then had like an entire formation of all black people making a U.S. flag. Listen, this much I know. All the black people on my feed were like, ooh, this is blackity black black. And all the racists who somehow get in, man, were they hopping mad. So if the racists are mad, I am happy as a clam.
I think I would definitely like for her to show proof of who these quote unquote racists are from her feed and what exactly they said that was racist and why they are upset. For one, because I don't believe her at all. And for two, quick little thing. I don't watch the Super Bowl. I never have. I probably never will. Um, but she mentioned something there that I found very interesting because I know that my teenager is very, very interested in Kendrick Lamar. So I had stuff to do on Sunday, and so I wanted to do it specifically in the time slot where I knew that most people would be at home watching the Super Bowl so that I can go out and do my business and not, have to see so much of society out and about. I try not to, if at all possible. So I was like trying to time it perfectly for that. And my teenager was like, "We got to be home. I got to watch the halftime show." I'm like, "Why?" And then she told me, Kendrick Lamar, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, when like that evening, I went on to do my parental duty and see what's so fascinating about this artist and then judge her decisions like every good parent. So I went on there and I watched the whole halftime show because I just really wanted to know. She's a very intelligent young lady, and I wanted to know what she saw in this artist because she's been talking about him for years. And I want to know what's going on in her head and why she chooses to be fans of certain things and people. And that is also a reflection on me as a parent. So I like to go in and eagle eye these decisions. So I did. I watched the entire halftime show and I enjoyed it very, very much. And I'm very critical. Like I'm just a critical, I think, person, individual. Um, so my teenager knows this. She was like sitting on the edge of her seat to see what I was going to think about this artist. And I think he is a musical artist. I think he's a poet. I enjoyed every second of that halftime show. And I really don't say that about many. But like I said, I had my ulterior motives watching it and I was eagle eyed because there's nothing more than I like to do as a parent than to call some stuff out on some choices that my kid makes. So I was really looking for something. I was like looking to not like him, and I didn't. I loved him. I thought I thought the halftime show was wonderful. So when I heard this take by Anna, I I heard her say that, and I literally had to go back and watch it again because when I eagle eyed it as a parent trying to judge my kid's decisions on liking this person, I didn't even notice that they were all black. I didn't even notice until she pointed it out. And then I went back and I'm like, holy shit, they are all black. And I didn't even notice. It wasn't even in my mind. It's not what I was even looking for. And I feel kind of silly because I didn't. But then I feel kind of proud that I didn't. Like, I felt silly afterwards. Like, crap, I didn't even notice that they were all black until she just mentioned it now and brought race up, placed race out there, put it on the table. Then I had to go back and I'm like, oh, now all I see is black. I understand. And this is kind of the epitome of what they do on this show is they turn something nice, innocent into something hateful and something you should be a victim of and appalled by. And it's so, so annoying. But yeah.
Huge celebration of New Orleans, and you can't celebrate New Orleans without celebrating black culture.
Yeah.
Welcome to Black History Month, you all.
Sonny?
I really thoroughly enjoyed it because I did predict that the Eagles would win, as can be seen by my gloating outfit today.
Her subtle jacket.
My subtle jacket. I agree with Anna. I mean, with all these attacks on diversity, all these attacks on African Americans, it was so nice to see.
Nobody is attacking African Americans. Not one person, please, please, black community. Nobody is attacking black people. Nobody's attacking African Americans. Nobody is coming for you. This is a lie. I don't know why she keeps saying shit like this.
See black excellence and joy in front of the sitting president who decided for the first time to go to the Super Bowl. New Orleans.
I don't think he's ever going back.
I don't think he's going back. New Orleans is a
I think Trump probably sat there and enjoyed every bit of all of it. I think he sat there and enjoyed the halftime show. I think he sat there as much as he could, right? How old is he? It's not like my grandma or grandpa would be sitting there liking the same thing. They'd be like, that's really loud, noisy. There's a lot of stuff going on with colors and lights and fireworks. And so I don't think he sat there. Like, I don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make this a race thing and how Donald Trump would somehow be appalled by this. Donald Trump is not a racist.
of course, is a predominantly black city, very close to my heart, 55% black. Then you have Kendrick Lamar.
Oh my God.
A lot of people said they didn't understand his performance. Guys, he's an award-winning, a Pulitzer Prize-winning musician and poet. Okay, so it was a many-layered performance. You've got Serena Williams crip walking. What I also really enjoyed about Kendrick's performance is it was performance art. If you really looked at it, it was multi-layered. Yes, he had people dressed in red, white, and blue, the colors of the flag, but he also had those people. He was standing in front of them because he's explaining that this is a divided country at this point. He also has them leaning to the side because this country was built on the backs of black people. So it was a very
I didn't get any of that. I don't think that anybody got any of that. And I would like for Kendrick Lamar himself to come out and say and explain his art, because Sunny Hostin taking it upon herself to draw her own conclusions from what she perceived it to be is nonsensical. It's nonsense. How the hell would she know?
multi-layered. And I'll also say this about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts proves he belongs in the upper echelon of any elite quarterback conversation. He's proven that. He was the MVP. What I also loved is Autumn Lockwood.
Drake is having a worse morning today, but that halftime show ended him. Like, I was texting my mom trying to explain the Kendrick Lamar beef and Drake, and she didn't totally get it, but I think she's like Googling and getting up to speed today. It was perfect. Like, the subtlety and lack of subtlety, I really appreciate.
So, funny note on that one, the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, which I didn't know about until I started hearing about it. So then I had to go ask my teenager and have her explain it to me, my little white bread, and I still didn't really understand it. So then I just happened to come across a YouTube video, and it was a black gentleman, and his title, what was it? The Drake Kendrick Lamar beef explained to white people, like 4 white people, 2 white people, click here. And I watched that, and then I understood it.
appreciated.
Yeah.
But my actual favorites, I don't follow football that much. So it's more that it's just this cultural moment and that it's hosted in New Orleans, that they had just kind of the jazzy rendition of America the Beautiful with two Louisiana natives,
Loved
Trombone
it.
Shorty and Lauren Daigle. I thought this was so good, just beautiful. And then Lady Gaga performing on Bourbon Street before the show
Don't
was
like
just
Lady
like
Gaga.
perfect. And after everything the city's been through with the terrorist attack, I thought it was just like a beautiful moment. Finally, as a non-sports person, it was such a blowout by that last interception, and I think it was the third quarter. I wanted to be like, just give the Chiefs the ball. Like, just stop. It's just not fair. Like, let them make a point.
So it's really funny, but in their broadcast, there was another performer. His last name, I think, is Batiste, but he did the Star Spangled Banner. And for some reason, they don't mention him on here. Now, I saw the performance. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. I was just like a little indifferent. I think people sometimes take liberties with stuff. I know a lot of people from Louisiana were like, thank you. You put our swag on it. Like, we loved it. I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. I was kind of indifferent. I was like, yeah, because some of them I real like when Chris Stapleton did it, like I felt that. It was emotional. I might be biased. I'm a huge Chris Stapleton fan, but so I'm wondering why they left him off of this or boasting about him. But on the note of the America the Beautiful, by that little tiny group with the trombone, they did wonderful. I absolutely loved their rendition of it, and they took some liberties with like Louisiana swag and it was wonderful. I thought it couldn't have been better.
It's Little League. They ran the score. We're going to stop here. But there was real quickly, takes 2 seconds. From Odebolt, Iowa, which has less than 1,000 people and has zero stoplights, the Eagles
decides that someone isn't good enough, that they shouldn't be. This is what decides if you're good enough. If you made it, you were good enough. Now, winners and losers we will always have. But there is nothing to say that any one of us can't play. We're all invited to this game. We'll be right back.
So, side note, you are not invited if you are a trans athlete, because if you're a man, you can't play in women's sports. I think that was her subtly throwing sort of a trans jab in there, that it's open to everybody, and that's not true. But I was just interested to see this take, because I was like, are they insane? Like, they're drawing conclusions from this that I don't think anybody else is drawing. I don't think anybody else saw what they saw and interpreted it the way that they did. And I think that that's super weird. I know they mentioned Samuel L. Jackson, which I'm a huge fan ever since Pulp Fiction, right? When I saw him as Uncle Sam, I thought that was wonderful, but I just love Samuel L. Jackson. So I thought that was great, but I would like for them to tell, like, was the halftime show this avid Black Lives Matter? Like, was it that, or was it just a musical artist that showed us his vision? Like, I don't know. They drew a lot from it. They made it racist, and I don't really know why. And so I'm very confused by their take. So I would like to know what you think, and let me know if I'm crazy or if they're crazy.